Hello, and welcome to this presentation on aftercare in the new home industry and on recent changes to the regulatory environment. I'm James Bush, Managing Director at New Homes Customer Care, or NHCC for short, and I'm delighted to have the opportunity to speak this year at Show Home Live 2024. My background is that I've spent more than 2 decades in the new home warranty sector, starting as a placement student all that time ago at the National House Building Council and ending up as part of their executive management team before a 5-year period as MD of the group that owns both the Premier Guarantee and LABC warranty brands in the UK. During that time, I was lucky enough to see some of the very best examples of custom care in the sector, but also, sadly, some of the very worst, which ultimately inspired the creation of NHCC. Launched as a brand new startup in 2018 as an organisation dedicated to helping home builders, housing associations and build-to-rent specialists deliver excellent customer care. I've split the presentation today into 3 distinct parts. I'll give a brief overview of some of the recent changes in the regulatory environment, followed by an intro to the New Homes Quality Board and New Homes Ombudsman. But first, if you'll indulge me for a few minutes, I thought I should introduce New Homes Customer Care, NHCC, to give you some context as to why I've been asked to speak to you today. Here at NHCC, we're the UK's market-leading outsourced customer care provider to the new home sector, delivering consistent world-class customer satisfaction. NHCC is multi-award winning, already contracted to provide customer care on a portfolio of over 20,000 new homes in the UK. We're an investigation and repair specialist with the technical expertise to support any size of project across the UK, supported by our nationwide building repair network. NHCC is also the first dedicated customer care supplier accredited to the New Homes Quality Board. Right. Now let's get into the detail of what I'm here to talk to you about today. Starting in this first section with a brief overview of some of the most recent and significant changes to our regulatory environment. The Building Safety Act was instigated following the aftermath of the Grenfell Tower tragedy, and is arguably the biggest piece of legislation to change the construction sector as we know it. It became an Act of Parliament on the 28th of April 2022. The Act ensures that building safety is a top priority and addresses issues around lack of accountability. The Act came into full force in August 2023 with the main regime and new regulators, which I'll introduce you to now. The Act created 3 new bodies to provide effective oversight of the new regime. The Building Safety Regulator, BSR, which the Health and Safety Executive has been appointed as. They set the standards and set the framework for assessment against the standards. The National Regulator of Construction Products, NRCP, within the Office for Product Safety and Standards, they lead on market surveillance and enforcement. And the New Homes Ombudsman, NHO. This is the regulator for aftercare of new homes. So what has changed with the Act? Firstly, increased consumer protection for residents, homeowners, and qualifying leaseholders. There's greater responsibility and accountability for builders and building owners, and there have been updates to the building regulations. People can make or break your organisation's success with the Building Safety Act, and it's your responsibility to make sure that you have the right people on your side to ensure compliance. As I'll explain later on in this presentation, NHCC can assist you with that process. So what do I mean by increased consumer protection? Homeowners, residents, leaseholders no longer are the first port of call to pay for historical safety issues. Building owners are no longer legally able to charge for cladding removal or remediation costs. And interim measures such as waking watches are no longer chargeable either. Residents are responsible to raise building safety concerns and specifically to raise those to the Building Safety Regulator, the Health and Safety Executive, if no response. Increased accountability. The Building Safety Act amends the limitation period in which a potential claimant can bring a claim from 6 years from completion of the dwelling to either a 30-year limitation period for dwellings completed before the 28th of June 2022, or 15 years for dwellings completed after the 28th of June 2022. Duty holders are required to manage building safety risks, and accountable persons must demonstrate the necessary measures are in place. A failure to comply can now lead to criminal proceedings. Building owners and landlords must pay to fix their own buildings and not charge the occupant. The key here is to assign the role of covering the detailed specifications of the Building Safety Act to a named person. This may be in the form of a building safety manager or a responsible person to oversee the safety of your buildings. They will work to ensure that all compliance is covered so you can focus on the bigger picture and drive quality for your organisation. Building Safety Act has 3 key objectives. They are clear, proportionate framework for the design, construction and management of safer, higher quality homes. Ensure all construction products on the UK market are safe for their intended use. And ensure those responsible for contributing to the building safety crisis are in line for the costs to rectify those mistakes. With companies now setting aside tens of millions of pounds to ensure compliance with the Building Safety Act, good financial planning and management have never been more important. Ensuring you have sufficient resources allocated to cover changes you'll need to make to building practices, materials, manpower and staff will all need to be accounted for. And NHCC can act as an extension to your customer care team for a fraction of the cost of building your own building. Building Safety Act mandates a digital record for higher risk buildings that includes the golden thread of information. This is accessible to relevant parties and updated over the building's life cycle. You should understand the technology you will employ to achieve this crucial golden thread of information. Adopting a system that enables you to store a digital trail of information of everything that takes place in your projects is at the heart of this. This is arguably one of the most significant changes in the built environment in decades. High-risk buildings that are either at least 18 metres in height or at least 7 stories and contain a minimum of 2 residential units must have a designated accountable person. Duty holders must create and maintain the golden thread of the building's information throughout the building life cycle of high-risk buildings. And after the construction phase, the accountable person becomes the organisation or person who has the responsibility for that building. So is it working? Well, the early signs are promising for the Act, with widespread positive industry reaction. The initial case studies published by the New Homes Ombudsman have shown a balance not predicted by some in the sector. And for completeness, I thought I'd include a tweet, or whatever the Act's equivalent is now supposed to be called, from the CIOB, praising the changes brought in. And that's part 2 of my presentation, a proper introduction to the triplets of N acronyms. In this section, I'll provide an overview of the New Homes Ombudsman, NHO, the New Homes Quality Board, NHQB, and the New Homes Quality Code, NHQC. I'll put here a pause for applause, but as this is the first time I've got all the way through it, but yes, that's the downside of doing presentations on Teams. But because I like to go that little bit extra, I'm also going to throw in a 4th N acronym, and I'll add a bit more flavour about NHCC's experience to date. Firstly, the New Homes Quality Board, an independent, not-for-profit body with an essential role to play at the centre of the framework. It will appoint and oversee the performance of the independent New Homes Ombudsman Service. It will provide information to consumers and industry professionals alike. It will hold the register of developers for new build homes. The New Homes Quality Board collect an annual registration fee from developers to fund the new arrangements. They have the power to discipline and sanction poorly performing developers and report and publish details on industry performance. New Homes Ombudsman Service has been set up to assist consumers in resolving issues with their new home, which a developer has been unable or unwilling to fix. NHCC aims to be an organisation to resolve and eliminate those disputes before it needs to reach the New Homes Ombudsman. The current New Homes Ombudsman is Alison McDougall. The Ombudsman provides robust, independent redress for new build buyers who have issues with their new home or developer. The New Homes Ombudsman is delivered through two teams: the casework team, responsible for complaints eligibility, and the Ombudsman team, managed by a lead Ombudsman. The NHA, its decisions will be entirely independent of the New Homes Quality Board and of industry, will consider the evidence provided by the consumer and the developer to reach an adjudication. The New Homes Quality Code is an obligation placed on developers to ensure that the home is complete before buyers move into a new home. Here at NHCC, we offer a pre-handover inspection service to minimise the need for snagging or remedial works post-legal completion. So what does the code do? It protects vulnerable customers. It requires the developer to provide all relevant information about the home during the sales process. It sets out requirements for a fair reservation agreement. It allows customers to have a professional carry out a pre-completion inspection. It specifies that a home must be complete before legal completion. Crucially, it requires builders to have an effective aftercare service in place to deal with any issues or snagging problems customers may have with their new home. The code helpfully and specifically gives the options to developers to outsource aftercare to a specialist, which is where we at NHCC come in. The main focus of the code is to ensure that developers have an effective customer care service in place to deal with build defects within the defect liability period. Home builders and developers have to register with the New Homes Quality Board and advise their customers whether the provisions of the code apply to their new home during the sale process. As at December 2023, there were 219 home builders already signed up and following the code, with a further 279 pending applications from other home builders. The implications being that sales may be more challenging if a builder or developer doesn't sign up to the code. But since January 2023, the code remains voluntary, but industry commentators expect it to become mandatory at some point in the future. So, how can NHCC help? Well, here at NHCC, we aim to help builders and developers improve the quality of their new homes at handover. We have a team of trained inspectors covering the UK, carrying out what we call pre-handover inspections for our clients, improving customer satisfaction and reducing costs of defect remediation post-legal completion. NHCC supports your site teams to resolve defects or issues before legal completion and prior to any professional inspection being carried out, as permitted under the New Homes Quality Code. We give our clients and customers a window into our soul in the form of a customer portal, which provides transparent 24/7 insight into the progress and resolution of issues and defects raised. We produce comprehensive reports and quotations to get a property to the required standard right first time. We produce detailed, dedicated reports for clients and projects that are under our care, allowing clients to assess the performance of their own teams. I could talk to you about many examples, but sadly I only have time for one today. In this example, NHCC's trained inspection team completed pre-handover inspections for clients, and out of the 4 plots surveyed, we found 355 defects, totaling an average of 88 defects per plot. I can almost hear the shock, but it's not an uncommon picture when we first start the PHI process. That process has proven to successfully and massively reduce defects at handover, regardless of your chosen warranty provider and their inspection, and has helped a number of clients achieve a 5-star rating of the Home Builders Federation survey results. With this type of information, our clients can save thousands of pounds each year, as works can be completed in one visit from each trade pre-legal completion in an NHCC compliant way, rather than multiple, more expensive visits post-completion, as used to be the case. It also greatly reduces the likelihood of complaints, as these issues are resolved prior to occupancy. As you might imagine, we have so much data at our fingertips, but I only have a short time to give you a brief taster. This chart shows the breakdown of defect categories in 1 month reported from across the UK, across the homes NHCC provide outsourced customer care for. I'm not going to go into detail on this chart here, but I will, and I can feel the bated breath, almost, share our most frequently found defects in the next couple of slides. The top 10 post-completion defect categories are taken from more than 7,000 defects recorded for homeowners post-completion in the last couple of years. NHCC has over 30 different defect categories reported, and top 10 categories accounted for over 4,000 of those 7,000 reported defect types. Now for the fun part, a mini quiz. But sadly, as we're not in a room together, no prizes today. What do you think the answer is? Jot it down on a scrap of paper, or for those of you with better memories than my goldfish mind, hold them in your mind. The activity on screen shows the top 10 most frequently reported defect areas NHCC has identified within the industry. But which of these are the top 3 most commonly reported root cause areas in both 2022 and 2023? I'll give you a few seconds to decide. So the top 3 for 2022 were decoration in first, electrical in second, and carpentry in third. Congratulations to those of you who guessed correctly. Now, the top defects found in 2023. Decoration remained at the top post-completion defects, with plumbing in second and brickwork in third. I don't know about you, but this remains a surprise to us, that despite thousands of toolbox talks provided across the industry, the top priority for change to further improve customer satisfaction remains the final trade into a property, and arguably the easiest to spot issues with and quickly correct. Is it any wonder that new home builder aftercare hasn't had the best reputation in recent years? We can all help to change this. And needless to say, our pre-handover inspection service and outsourced customer care can help mitigate all and any such issues. And now, because I know many of you love a photo to spot the defect, some more obvious than others, here we have some images taken across sites that NHCC has assisted with in 2023. Would you accept any of these in your new home? I certainly wouldn't, which is why NHCC is here to help. Interestingly, the CIOB recently released their very own report on the new home sector, and the most common defects that they observed were doors not fitted correctly, squeaking staircases, fixings not level, walls not being true, issues with decoration. There you go, that decoration underlying theme coming through again, and inconsistent brickwork. And again, looking at that list, relatively basic items, yeah, right. The less well-known snags found within the CIOB report are tile vents in the roof being incorrectly installed, spindles and handrails being unevenly spaced, warped doors, and trickle vents and windows not opening or closing properly. And yet again, none requiring a rocket scientist to get right. And now to my third, and you'll no doubt be delighted to hear, final part of my presentation today, but I believe a very important one to finish on. In the theme of improving quality and continuing to improve the aftercare reputation in the industry we know and love, some best practice tips. Delivering market-leading customer care in the new build sector requires a strategic and customer-centric approach. What it takes to excel in this area? Well, here are a few key insights. and some key service benefits NHCC provides for our client. Firstly, clear communication, transparency. We communicate openly and honestly with customers. All our communication with customers is visible to all parties at all times by accessing the transparent customer portal I mentioned earlier. Updates. It's so important to provide regular updates on the progress of works and resolution of issues, including any potential delays, using all the communication channels available from email, phone, and online portals. Again, something that we do day in, day out. Quality construction. What do I mean by this? Well, the adherence to standards, but not just those set out in the building regs or by the chosen home warranty provider standards. What's the customer charter you've committed to? We help our clients ensure that construction meets or exceeds the standards set. High quality build leads to fewer issues and greater customer satisfaction. And our team across the UK are helping our clients achieve those aims. Quality inspections, including pre-delivery inspections, or as we call them, pre-handover inspections, we actively encourage implementing rigorous quality control measures during and post-construction to identify and address potential issues before official handover. And our pre-handover inspection is a great tool to ensure that right level of quality before handover to a new occupier. Customer education. So, induction sessions. We offer demonstration sessions to help familiarise buyers with their new homes, including explaining maintenance procedures and addressing common concerns. Another service we provide is home demonstration visits, sometimes combined with snagging inspections, to help introduce customers to their new home and offering a truly effective handover process. Documentation. We encourage clients to provide comprehensive documentation, including user manuals and guides, to help homeowners understand and maintain their property, preferably in a digital form that they can access whenever they feel the need. And our team of project coordinators are there always to help and provide that backup information. Efficient customer service. Accessible support is so important. We provide multi-channel access, whether it's telephony, email, web-based portals, to ensure a customer can inquire and raise concerns and have them promptly dealt with at a time to suit them. And having the trained and experienced staff to support that process is so vital. Our customer service staff are knowledgeable, empathetic, and very effective in resolving issues. NHCC is also the first customer care specialist accredited by the New Home Quality Board and fully trained in helping developers adhere to and follow the New Homes Quality Code. Technology integration, digital platforms. Think about what you utilize to support your customer journey. We utilize digital platforms to customer interactions, making it easier for customers to access information, request services, and communicate. NHCC continually evolves our customer portal to optimize those interactions. And consistent on-site data capture. We've developed our own mobile app, but there are many others out there, to help ensure a consistent way of capturing data, photographs, video, and if appropriate, voice, to provide transparency and consistency of reporting from a home or a site. Okay, feedback mechanism. What feedback mechanisms do you promote? We implemented a systematic feedback collection process to understand our customer experiences and satisfaction. And across the thousands of completed jobs we've done to date in occupied properties, we've achieved a world-class Net Promoter Score on behalf of our clients. Continuous improvement. We use the customer feedback to continuously improve processes and service delivery by learning from any areas of complement or indeed complaint. Compliance. We help our clients ensure compliance with all the relevant regulations, using the expertise of our project managers and surveyors. Ethical practices. We uphold ethical business practices, promoting trust and confidence among customers and clients alike. And then finally, community engagement. We absolutely love engaging with the community through events, newsletters, social media to build a positive brand image and foster a sense of belonging. We support our selected charities through regular events, as well as joining clients in their community support activities. On development Q&A sessions where issues do arise and affect multiple homes, we have actively promoted and supported a number of clients by attending and participating in such sessions to promote transparency, establish communication channels, and to keep customers fully informed and up to date. And then here are some useful links to complete some further reading in areas of interest. And if you'd like a further conversation about NHCC or indeed our services, please don't hesitate to contact me at the email address or any of our helpful team on the number provided. Thank you all for taking the time to attend the session. And I'd like to invite any questions on the topics discussed. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, James, for joining us today and for sharing your insight and a fantastic presentation. I do have a few questions, if that's okay with you.
Certainly. Thanks.
So going back to the slide that you were talking about, the most common snags, I'm curious to know what you think are the main reasons for those issues. For example, is it possibly a lack of skilled workers, or budget and time constraints, or possibly a combination of those factors?
I think, Joseph, there's a combination of factors leading to the snagging issues and defects at handover that we certainly see. And that's largely driven by the time pressure to finish to a particular timescale, and inevitably things tend to get condensed at the end if there isn't a structured quality process with those rigorous checks in place. Now, many developers and certainly our clients have recognised the value to be gained from having that rigorous process in place, and hence the pre-handover inspections I mentioned gives everyone a chance to get things right first time before the home buyer moves in.
And when these issues arise, you did mention as well that sometimes there's an unwillingness. The house builder is possibly unwilling to resolve these problems and these disputes, and therefore there's the need for the NHO to step in. Why do you think they might be unwilling? Is that the case, or do you think that possibly they're incapable of resolving the issues?
Another good question, Joseph. I think there's a culmination of factors leading to what I might have termed in that presentation an unwillingness. You have to bear in mind that a homeowner has just made one of the biggest purchase decisions of their lives in buying a new home, parted with hundreds of thousands of pounds typically, and they're expecting that product to be perfect, when in reality, that new home has been typically tens of thousands of individual component parts constructed and put together by semi-skilled labour in inclement weather in the UK environment. There are things that will go wrong, but as I said, if you've got the appropriate quality checks and very importantly, that very structured, potentially independent, if we're engaged to do it, sign-off process at the end, you're mitigating those issues. In terms of the things we see quite commonly, you have a homeowner that's got a number of issues that they are very determined to get put right. You have a developer that will have their own processes, their own checks, and an individual communicating with that home buyer saying no to certain things in some cases. And the homeowner won't accept no for an answer from the person or people they've just parted with hundreds of thousands of pounds to. And that's where actually part of our service comes in, we're an independent expert and viewed that way. And when we are brought in to help resolve, I suppose, impasses between home buyers and developers, we say very factually, backed by evidence, that these are the issues that the developer should be responding to. There are some issues which, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, are your responsibility. Having that independence, I think, from a consumer protection point of view, the New Homes Ombudsman being an ultimate arbiter of those decisions is a good avenue, a good independent expert avenue in the event an issue is that significant or a homeowner will not accept what they've been told to that point by the developer. But there are ways of, as I said in the presentation, through what we do for our clients across the UK, mitigating the need to ever get a particular issue raised with the New Homes Ombudsman.
Yeah, and I guess the best way to mitigate these risks and these problems is by initially being fully aware of the Building Safety Act and keeping up with the changes that come into play. How do you think, what's the best way for house builders to keep up with any updates to the Building Safety Act and also make sure that they're being fully compliant?
So another great question, Joseph. Many of our clients have a person within their businesses responsible for such things. We as an organisation keep up to date, as you might imagine, to ensure that we are continuing to deliver best advice and best service to our clients. I've put on one of the closing slides some useful web links, and I would advise anyone to keep up to date with what the New Homes Ombudsman, what the New Homes Quality Board are publishing, and the government website for the Building Safety Act. But if we're engaged with clients, we're making sure that we're helping ensure compliance, particularly with the New Homes Quality Code in that part of the latest regulatory change.
Well, thank you very much once again, James, for joining us today and for the work that you're doing to ensure that we have quality homes and happy customers. So, yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Joseph.